All right. Hello. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. My name is Otis Landerholm, and I am the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. And welcome to another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Today our topic is going to be on immigration bonds and how to get someone out of immigration detention. All right, what do you have to prove to get somebody out of immigration detention? And so let's talk that through. And thanks for everyone who's been here and welcome. Really appreciate each of you. Remember that the Empowered Immigrant Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration laws and to make the most out of their lives. All right? Today our topic is bond hearings, like immigration bond, immigration detention. What do you have to prove to get somebody out of detention? Okay? And so my question for everybody is, hey, are you an immigrant in the United States and do you want to fix your immigration status in some way? Do you want to apply for a green card? Do you want to apply for asylum? Apply for a U visa? Find some strategy, find some option to fix your immigration situation. Because if so, I'd love to help you with that. If so, it's like, go for it. All right? I'd really love to help you with that. My firm is on a mission to win 10,000 immigration cases in the next 10 years. We would love for your case to be one of them. All right? And so thanks for being here, everybody. And as I'm talking about the theme, if you've got questions, feel free to submit your questions. And I'll do my best to answer them all. All right? Although I haven't been able to answer every single one the last couple times because we've had a lot of questions. But still, submit your questions. I will do my best. All right? Well, today it's the 27th of March, right? And there's a lot of things that are changing. And I say the date because who knows, right? Next week, there's going to be additional changes. Even tomorrow, who knows, right? Trump has been back in the White House for 2 months. And there's just been a lot of different changes happening, right? The Laken Riley Act was signed into law. Their ICE is getting started with their mass deportation efforts. They're working to arrest 1,800 people per day, okay? The Senate and the House have approved Trump's budget for deportations. A few weeks ago, Trump announced a new gold card for people to buy a green card with $5 million. There's a registration requirement, which I've talked about. Feel free to watch previous episodes about that. And maybe if there's a question, I can address that a little bit today as well. DHS fired the acting director of ICE. They've hired new leadership within ICE. They've fired many immigration judges. Okay? They are talking about a new travel ban, which I've done an episode about also. There's people who have been deported under the Alien Enemies Act, despite a lawsuit challenging the government's use of that act. Okay? Over the weekend, there's a new executive order now targeting immigration lawyers, all right, saying that immigration lawyers are helping immigrants stay in the United States unlawfully and that there needs to be sanctions and things like that against immigration lawyers. There's just a lot, Welcome to the club, everybody. There's a lot happening. It's craziness. It's madness. And so if you are tuning in right now, thank you for tuning in right now. I really appreciate that. All right. If you want to know my personal stance on things, like I'm not going anywhere. I'm not stopping. All right. I love my work. I love my clients. I'm here to fight for my clients. All right. And so that's my own philosophy. I'm actually very, very lucky to have found a job that I love and to be able to work with people that I love from all kinds of different parts of the world. And, I'm living a special existence to be able to do something that I'm good at and that I really, really enjoy, right? So anyway, I wanted to share that. Today our topic is bond hearings and bond, immigration bond. Bond is often the way to get somebody out of detention who is detained by ICE, okay? And so as I'm talking about this, if you have questions, please submit your questions. I'll do my best to answer them. All right, and welcome everybody on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. We are live right now, and thank you all so much for being here. Okay, so here's the way it works. When somebody gets detained by ICE, and when somebody's actually in detention, we often get that call, right? Hey, my spouse, my child, my parent, in some instances, was detained by ICE, right? First, we got to locate that person. And then one of our initial inquiries is that person going to be eligible for a bond to try to get them out? Because ICE will not release them of their own accord right now. Okay, just in my experience, they will not. And so, but if a judge says that, yes, we're going to issue them a bond so that they can pay a bond and then fight their case out of custody, that sometimes changes the game. Okay? So some people are eligible for bond and some people are not, right? If a person has certain criminal records or certain arrest history per the Lake and Riley Act, right? If you even have an arrest for a theft-related offense, robbery, there's other offenses, then you will not be eligible for a bond. Certain convictions, right, make you subject to 236C, and then you're not eligible for bond. So some immigration history also, like if you've been deported already in the past and now your deportation is being reinstated by the government, it's absent a few exceptions, you're typically not going to be eligible for bond. So anyway, the first step is figuring out, are you even eligible, right? But if you are, or if you're arguably eligible for bond, you can request a bond hearing from your judge, and then you can submit arguments. You can argue that you should be eligible for bond, and you can ask the judge to set a reasonable bond amount to fight so that you can fight your case out of immigration detention. You can fight out of custody, all right? Get out of jail. And so that's huge, right? When we are doing that, judges are supposed to analyze three big considerations, all right? The three, I said two because it often comes down to two, but it's technically three. First is, are you a danger to the community? Second is, are you a flight risk? Okay? So are you a danger to the community? Have you ever committed a crime that put somebody else in the community in danger? Okay? Are you a flight risk? Like, are you just going to run away? Or do you have a solid address? Do you have a job? Do you have a family? Are you going to be motivated to fight your case and to stick with the process? All right? The third thing, which is coming up more and more, is, are you a threat to national security? And in the past, like my clients at least, were never threats to national security. It wasn't even argued anywhere. But nowadays, that's becoming more and more of an issue, and the government is going to find any reason to argue any of those three things, right, before the judge. So when doing this analysis, there are 9 things that judges will consider. And I'm going to go through these super fast, and then we'll open it up for questions. All right? And these 9 factors are from a case that was decided by the Board of Immigration Appeals. It's called the matter of Guerra. All right? And so I'll go through the 9 factors really quick, and then we'll get into your questions for today. Okay? The first factor that judges can consider is whether or not the immigrant has a fixed address in the U.S. Okay? Second factor is, how long have they lived in the U.S.? Third factor is, how much family ties do they have in the U.S.? All right? And could the immigrant adjust status based on those family ties, potentially? All right. Fourth is the immigrant's employment history. Do they have a record of having solid employment? Are they a good employee, etc.? All right. The fifth is the immigrant's record of appearance in court. Have they ever failed to appear at a hearing? Right. The sixth is the criminal record. So how severe is the criminal record? How recent is the criminal record? You know, was the offense super serious, etc.? All right. The seventh is the history of immigration violations, right? Did somebody enter the U.S. without permission once or 4 times, right? Was somebody caught crossing the border and deported and then re-entered, or did they come in and were never caught? Did somebody enter on a visa and then overstay, or did someone, lie maybe to get that visa, and so there was like fraud in the record that they used to enter? All of these things can be considered by the judge. All right. Number 8 is, have there been any attempts to flee prosecution or to escape the authorities? All right. And finally, number 9 is the manner of entry. Did you enter with a visa, or did you enter without inspection, basically? All right, or through fraud or through some other means. Okay, those are the 9 factors that I wanted to go through, that if you're presenting bond and you're arguing bond in front of a detained judge, you want to be able to answer and address each of these factors to maximize your chances of being allowed to be released. Got it? All right. The point of this, and that the best advice about this, is if someone's detained and they're trying to get out of detention, get a lawyer and have them help you demonstrate those 9 things. All right? And yes, it is possible to get a lawyer exclusively for the bond proceeding, right? Or at least initially, just for the bond proceeding, so that you can focus on that and have it and maximize your chances of success for that. Okay, thank you for listening for that. And so let me know what questions you have. I'm seeing a lot already. And so let me get started here. The first question I see is Carrie Alvarado. All right, Carrie Alvarado, thank you for asking your question. You say, hello, my husband has a green card and he has a dismissed misdemeanor for marijuana possession. Is it okay for him to travel? A dismissed misdemeanor for marijuana possession. I am not going to answer yes or no. That's a good question. My real advice is talk with a lawyer before your husband travels. Okay? My best advice is talk to a lawyer before your husband travels and really look at that record of conviction, because sometimes, right, sometimes that could put his green card at risk. Sometimes the best advice is become a U.S. citizen first, right, just so that it doesn't jeopardize your husband's green card in the future. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case in your situation, all right? There are many things that might be considered. But the Border Patrol, for example, could request those records, the records of conviction, and you would want to be clear with what the records say before making a decision to leave the U.S. All right? I hope that's helpful. All right? So my next question is from Gonzalez. All right? You said, I am working with you. All right, cool. Thank you. Primero Dios, usted nos ganará el caso con mi esposo. All right, thank you. All right, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. All right. And for you specifically, and I'll announce this at the end also, this afternoon we have a client-only call. All right, we're now doing this once a month, 3 p.m. this afternoon for our clients exclusively. Feel free to join us, and we'll be talking about strategies and all these changes and what to expect, etc., for our clients. So let's see, vieja mitotera. All right, I see your question. You say, could you talk about how a VAWA case works? Meaning you get a work permit and then a visa, question mark. Yeah, we can talk through VAWA a little bit. So when a person has been subject to abuse or extreme cruelty in the United States, and their petitioner, their would-be petitioner, is a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, but they're not filing that petition because there's abuse happening. What the law says is that a person in that situation has the right to file a petition for themselves. All right, they file their own petition, and that's through VAWA. That's what the Violence Against Women Act allows people to do. It doesn't have to be for women only, even though the name is Violence Against Women Act. It can be for both men and women. But so when someone's in that situation, they can file their own petition. That petition will take some time. Once the petition is approved, you can be given what they call a prima facie determination first, and you can be given what's called deferred action through VAWA. Once that happens, you can apply for a work permit. Okay? In some instances, you can use that petition to adjust status and apply for a green card without leaving the U.S., only if you're otherwise admissible. All right? But if you're not otherwise admissible, then you'll be stuck and you'll just have the petition, which you can use to get a work permit. Okay? So if you're eligible for adjustment, because you don't have a permanent bar, you don't have other inadmissibility grounds, then you can apply for a green card, and then you can get a green card, become a lawful permanent resident. So VAWA is not a visa. It's a petition, right? But it allows a person to adjust status if they're eligible for adjustment using that petition. And it's a petition it's kind of a special petition because it allows a person to apply for a work permit once a prima facie determination is made that it's an approvable case. Okay? So that's what I got for you there. I hope that that's useful, and I hope it's helpful. Good. Let's see. So Lupita Calichera, thank you for asking your question. You say, hello, do you know about the Calderon Jimenez versus Mayorkas settlement? You know, I have read about it, but I am not going to be able to really discuss it right here live without reading it and refreshing my memory. Let me see if I can just do a quick, because it's been a while. Let's see, ACLU, yeah, what I will do for you, Lupita, thank you for asking this. What I will do for you is I will make sure to give an update on it at our live session on Tuesday of next week, because it's ending family separation. I remember I'm gonna need to read through what the settlement pertains to. Okay, I'm kind of looking at a separate screen while I'm thinking the best answer. Yeah, I don't want to say something that's inaccurate, and I haven't reviewed it in a while. And so I'll be happy to review it, but I'll do it on Tuesday next week. All right. So Lupita, join us on Tuesday next week, and thank you for asking that question. Rafael Martins, Otis, good afternoon. Hey, good afternoon to you, Rafael. Thank you so much for being here. All right. And Abode May 32. So I handled a disposition at the green card, as a green card holder for a dismissed misdemeanor. Does the officer at the airport know that? You always need to assume that an officer at the airport will want to ask for the full records. All right, you always want to assume that they don't know that, and then you want to travel with a copy of everything that's happened. But again, similar to the question that Carrie Alvarado asked, it's wise to talk with a lawyer and really look at the record before deciding whether or not to leave the country. Okay? You just want to maximize your chances of being allowed to come back and not having an issue with Border Patrol and all that stuff. Like, really, if you've worked with a lawyer in the past, sometimes it's just a phone call to double check, phone call, a consultation, whatever it is. Like, read the record, understand your situation to give you good advice about it. Okay? Let's see, Maria Villegas. Thank you for asking your question. Can I travel to another state? I have a work permit under an adjustment of status. Yes. Yes, thank you for asking that. As an adjustment applicant, that is your legal status in the U.S. right now. Your work permit's unexpired. Go travel to your other state. Just be mindful. I don't know. I always hesitate to advise people to go anywhere that's within 50 miles of any U.S. border because there's checkpoints and there's a lot of craziness happening right now. But other than that, I'd say, yeah, have a good trip. Okay? So let's see. Gonzalez, you're asking, but if they already have deportations, is there anything you can do? You're working on an I-130. I got that. So yes, there are things that can be done. Sometimes if there's a deportation order issued and there's an I-130 pending through marriage, for example, sometimes the process is after the I-130 is approved, we file what's called a conditional I-212 waiver. All right, so sometimes that's the process. In other situations, the process is to file a motion to reopen once the petition's approved. And then you can reopen a deportation case and then hopefully adjust status in front of an immigration judge. Those are the two big strategies for how to handle a prior deportation. And when to do which is a complex analysis, and you would require really talking it through. But yeah, so there are things that can be done, and you want to be mindful. Anybody that has a deportation order, right, there is some risk right now, especially in this environment, that that immigration could actually reinstate that deportation order and detain someone and deport them. All right, and if that were to happen, same thing. You've got an I-130 that's pending. You have the right to continue with that I-130, and then you could file an I-212 to waive the deportation and hopefully bring that person back into the U.S. And so those are all things that can be talked through and strategies about how to fix a case, right? All right, let's see. User 6339 with a long number there. Good. Can the 43 countries that from the visa ban, from the travel ban, be found unconstitutional, or is the law now for good? Well, that's a good question. I don't think that the travel ban will be found unconstitutional. It might be challenged in the courts. The reason I say that is because it was not found unconstitutional under the first Trump administration, right? But man, you never know. I don't think, just being honest, I don't think that the travel ban will be found, quote unquote, unconstitutional. But we're going to see what happens with that travel ban, hopefully. Anyway, yeah, I don't really know, honestly, what will happen with the travel ban. The best advice for those folks, I did a video specifically about the travel ban last Thursday. Feel free to tune into that if you're from any of those countries, all right? I won't list out the whole list of those 43 countries right here, right now, but check out that video if you want to know more. The two Spanish-speaking countries that are most affected are Cuba and Venezuela. They're both on the red list. I can at least get the red list up. I should do that here for you guys. Okay. Um, the red list includes Sudan, Venezuela, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, Iran, Libya, Cuba, and North Korea. All right, those are 9 countries that are on the red list with, and it's the latest news says that Pakistan and Afghanistan are expected to be added to that list. And so, what was the date of this one? Yeah. Anyway, the travel ban as of today's date is not in effect. Right now, we just have drafts. We have rumors. We have an idea that this will be put into effect, but it is not actually live today, which means that if you're from any of those countries or any of the countries that are on any of those travel advisory lists, and chances are if you've got a visa or a green card, you're from one of those countries, you probably, hopefully, you've been following the news about that. If you're in that situation and if you have a visa or a green card, like the best advice is get into the United States now. All right? Buy the plane ticket, get into the country right now, today, tomorrow, soon as possible, because it's going to be exponentially more difficult for you to re-enter the United States after this actually goes into effect. Okay? All right, complied noob. Thank you for being here. You say, hello, has there been news about DACA? Mine expires in November. Should I renew? So yes, there has been some news about DACA. All right. So, and yes, you can renew your DACA, and I recommend renewing your DACA. There's pending litigation still about DACA. I should do a whole other episode about all of the news, but the bottom line to answer your question is if anybody has DACA and they want to renew it, all right? Continue to renew it. And I'll do a different episode fully explaining some of the news that's happened as a result of ongoing litigation. Okay? Let's see. So Bay BB or Bell BB. My father is a U.S. citizen. I entered the country illegally. My dad needs to give a green card. Is it possible? So your father's a U.S. citizen, you entered illegally, and your dad wants to help you get a green card. I got that. I wish there were a way to get you a lawful entry. It's very difficult, to be honest, to fix a situation like yours. Your father can file the petition. That petition will take years if you're over 21, at least. That petition will take years. After that petition's approved, then you got to wait for the preference categories. You got to wait for the visa bulletin to become current, and you've got to be eligible for your green card at that point. The problem is, in order to be eligible for that green card at that point, you would need to be in valid immigration status, or you'd need to be protected by what we call 245I, okay? Or you would need to be outside the United States with no unlawful presence bar, okay? And so it's like, you're in a tough situation. It might not be possible, but the best advice for you is to get a consultation and really talk it through and talk about all these different scenarios and how long the timing of that petition really will be for you. We can look that up for you and like really guide you in what the best strategy would be. Okay? So that's my best answer. All right? Everybody, welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. My name's Otis Landerholm. I'm a certified specialist in immigration law. I'm also the founding attorney of Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. We're a law firm based in Oakland, California. We fight for the rights of immigrants. Okay? And so thanks for being here. Really appreciate each of you for tuning in today. I've got a few more moments here, and I'll answer a few more questions here. All right, so Daniel HDZ, I see your question. Hello, can I go from a TN visa to a green card? You know, yes, many people do that. The question is how, And so that is like you will either need a petition from a family member if you marry a U.S. citizen while you're here on your TN, or you'll need a petition from an employer, right, which can possibly happen, the I-140 petition. That's outside of my firm's wheelhouse, but you can talk that through. Or you could switch, you could apply for asylum if you have a fear to return to your country. You could apply for a U visa if you suffer some kind of crime in the U.S. But typically, to go directly from a TN to a green card is through an employment-based green card petition, which is not my firm's expertise. Okay? But we could certainly do family-based green card petitions for you in that same situation. If you married a U.S. citizen or had a U.S. citizen child who is 21 wanting to petition for you, you could do that. Okay? Nice. All right. Let's see. Rafael Martins, good to see you. All right. You say, Otis, I would like to apply for a U visa, but the report has a description of a crime that is not on the USCIS list. Given the circumstances, what would you recommend? Would you recommend moving forward? So this is a great question. Thank you for asking this question. My best advice is to do a consultation about that U visa, all right, and really get good advice about it. I have won U visas for people based on crimes that are not quote unquote on the USCIS list, all right, because the U visa law as written includes a category called other related crimes. You just have to be able to demonstrate or document how the crime that you suffered from is related to one of the crimes that is on the list. Okay? And that, and maybe there's an argument for that in your case, maybe there's not. All right? Maybe it's, maybe the chances of success are like less than 5%, and it's not worth it for you. Maybe the chances of success is like, hey, you've got a good argument. Can't guarantee it, but maybe you got a good argument. Maybe it's 75% chances of success. To know stuff like that, you got to have a consultation, really think it through, strategize around it, and ask, hey, is this the type of case that we should file, right? And so, but anyway, really great question, Rafael. Thank you for being here, and thank you for asking it. All right, Edgar Hernandez, you say, if I have 2 felonies vacated by a judge for car burglary, and if I get arrested by ICE, do I have the opportunity to cancel my deportation? The I-601A was submitted. So you have 2 felonies that are vacated by a judge. That's good job on getting them vacated, all right? If I get arrested by ICE, do I have the opportunity to cancel my deportation? So that is a very different analysis, right? The crimes shouldn't stand in the way of your applying for cancellation of removal because you were never convicted or because your convictions were vacated. They should not stand in the way of your cancellation of removal. But to be eligible for cancellation of removal, you've got to demonstrate that you've got 10 years of physical presence in the United States and that you have a U.S. citizen spouse, parent, or child who would suffer what the judge will find to be an exceptional and extremely unusual hardship, right? If your case were denied and if you were deported. If you can show those things, then yeah, you could win this case. The challenge, the other wrinkle in your case is, will you be eligible for bond? All right, and that's an interesting situation that I don't know the answer to, because I don't think anybody knows the answer to it, because it's brand new. It'll be affected by the Lake and Riley Act. Whether or not a vacated conviction where you were arrested for a theft-related offense like car burglary would subject you to what they call mandatory detention. We would need to fight that case, all right? If you were detained, you would want a lawyer to fight that case and to make the argument that no, your conviction was vacated, and because of that, it should not have any consequences, even under Lake and Riley. That's going to be an uphill battle. I don't know what the judges will say. It probably could be fought even to appeals, right? But that's the type of case that you'd be potentially facing. Anyway, Edgar, thank you for being here. Thank you for asking that question. All right, Kate767, are train fare evasions deportable if you're applying for an N400? Are you saying that you have a criminal conviction against you for evading a train fare? I've never seen that. I've never seen that before. But no, it should not be a deportable offense. I've never seen it. So out of an abundance of caution, I would say, hey, let's do a consultation and let's really get to the bottom of it. But my hunch, don't practice immigration law based on hunches. My hunch is that no, a train fare evasion is not a deportability offense. All right, and so I think you should be okay filing for your N400. It might cause a question or two about quote unquote good moral character analysis, which is another requirement for citizenship. But anyway, yeah. But I'm curious if you just like didn't pay the train fare and were like ticketed by the official, or whether or not there was actually a conviction. You know, like was this like an actual, like did you have to fight about this in front of a judge? Anyway, I've never come across that. So thank you for being here and thanks for asking that question. And I'd love to help you, quite honestly. I'd love to help you file for citizenship, get this issue taken care of. I'd fight your case. Totally, you know. All right. Sid, green card through asylum granted in 2023. Also, I'm married to a U.S. citizen since 2021. So when can I do the N400, the 3 years or the 5 years? Thank you for asking this question. This is a great question. So the laws say that if you're living in marital union with a U.S. citizen, you can apply under the 3-year rule, all right? And you can do it. It doesn't matter necessarily that you got your green card through your marriage. If you got your green card through asylum, but you can show you're living in marital union with a U.S. citizen for 3 years, bingo, go for it. Go under the 3-year rule. You can do it. Okay, I've done it. It works. You can do it. All right, Trey Money _fool. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. You say, I have 3 vacated cases waiting on an approval for an I-601. I just sent the papers showing that they are vacated. They asked for proof that they are done. Okay, good for you. Good for you. I'm glad that you got the cases vacated. All right. My concern there is, you know, do everything you can to maximize your chances of getting that I-601 approved. If you need an I-601, you know, is it an I-601A, waiving unlawful presence, or is the I-601 to waive crimes? Because if you got your cases vacated, you shouldn't need an I-601 to waive the crimes, right? Anyway, I can't give you like great advice without reviewing everything that you're talking about, but I hope that you have a good lawyer representing you, and if you don't have one, or if you want a second opinion or anything like that, my office is here to help. We'd love to help. Okay? Can you adjust status if you're in federal prison? It's possible. Not easy, but it's possible. All right? And for some people, it's possible even to coordinate a marriage. Like if you've been together with your spouse for years, but you just never actually married, and now you're detained, and whoops, we should have gotten married. You can do that also while you're detained and apply for a green card while in detention. It depends, though, on whether or not you're eligible for adjustment of status, which includes whether or not you have certain convictions, which might require answering the question of why you're in federal prison, right? And so there's lots to work through there. But yes, it is possible to adjust status even for a person who's in federal custody. Okay? All right, Miriam Garcia, got your green card through consular process, married a U.S. citizen, you have speeding tickets, you want to apply for citizenship. everybody's got speeding tickets, all right? I got speeding tickets, all right? You're okay to apply for citizenship, but you need to check the box. The box asks, have you ever been arrested, detained, or cited? And when it's a citation, like a traffic violation, yeah, you have to check that box saying yes, and yes, I had speeding tickets, I'm sorry about it, and I paid them off. And as long as you paid them off and all that stuff, you should be okay. Okay? Roussant, does a DUI hurt your process for citizenship? Yeah, a DUI is a more severe conviction than a ticket is, right? But a DUI is a less severe conviction than certain intentional crimes. They consider a DUI to be unintentional. It's not like it's not like you intended to harm another person. So it doesn't automatically cause a problem for the quote-unquote good moral character analysis, but you want to be able to address it. Like they will still take it into consideration. And so you're going to need to prepare more documentation to show that you've complied with everything, to show that you're rehabilitated, show you're remorseful, all that stuff, so that the government can still find that you're a person of quote-unquote good moral character and approve your citizenship. Okay? All right, Sassy, we appreciate you. Hey, I appreciate you too. Thank you for being here. All right? WIS774, and then, oh man, I got so many questions. I can't. I got more than I can answer. I'm sorry. WIS774, and then unknown writer, and then that's it. All right? So WIS774, you say, I am on the U visa wait list with deferred action, and I have a criminal record, and I'm on an order of supervision. Very good. Very good. So you're worried about your check-ins, is what you're saying. But you have deferred action at least. So, I mean, you're in a better situation than many, right? Go to your order of supervision, your check-in, whatever you need to do, and show them that you have deferred action. Deferred action means that the government is saying that they're going to defer to act against you. That should include defer to deport you, right? Now, that's tenuous, and by that I mean still there's potentially some risk. ICE could just disregard that in theory, but at least you have that, all right? It's a much better situation to be in than having a deportation order, be on an order of supervision with check-ins, and have nothing, right? And so there you go. There you go. My last question of the day, unknown writer. You say, I have custody of my kids. My ex claims that she plans to give my name to ICE if I don't give her custody. That's ugly. That's ugly. That's really ugly. I'm really sorry to hear this. Keep in mind she's not stable, and that's why I have custody. I got that. You know, my brother is a family law attorney, all right? And so it's like I talk with him sometimes about these issues, and it's like, yeah, that's ugly, all right? That's ugly. Bottom line is, like, I don't know what your immigration status is. I'd love to help you with your immigration status. But if you need help with family court stuff, it sounds like you already have full custody of your kids. Like, ex-spouses, I don't know. If she's unstable, it's like she's going to do what she's going to do. You can't control her. Don't even worry about it. You can't worry about it. You can't control it. It's outside of the possibility. Like, what can you possibly do, right? All you can do is continue to be the best parent you can possibly be to your children. And, like, I don't know, just take it day by day. Yes, if my office can help you with your immigration status in any way, maybe there's a VAWA case here, maybe there's a U visa case here, maybe you already have your immigration case situated or in progress. But yeah, oh man, I'm sorry for you that you're going through that. That's no good, no fun. All right, keep being the best parent you can possibly be. I've got 2 kids. I love them. It's like it's so much more important, right, than worrying about what's your ex-wife going to do or say at any given moment. Like, you can't control that. It's impossible. You could die worrying from it. Okay? All right, you guys. I appreciate each of you. Thank you all so much for being here. Really, really, I appreciate it. If this was useful, if this was helpful, please take a moment. Go to our channel in YouTube. All right? Lander Home Immigration is our channel title in YouTube. Please hit the subscribe button. When you do that, also hit the notifications bell, and you'll receive a notification whenever we upload an additional video with news, updates, everything that's going on. I want you to stay informed. It's important that we all stay informed. All right? I see so many other questions that have come in. All right? Bree and Mike Ba and AJ Smith and Daniel and the Sisterhood and ASAP and KISS. I see so many questions that have come in. I'm really sorry. I wish I had just had all day, right? I could do this. Unfortunately, I don't. I do need to do this episode in Spanish for our Spanish audience. We will do that in just a few moments. I'll actually be really, really tight with time in that episode. And then I've got appointments coming in because we are busy, folks. We are busy. And so anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Again, if you are a client of my firm, if you are currently working with as a client of my firm, Lander Home Immigration A.P.C., we are having a client call this afternoon at 3 p.m. exclusively for our clients. I invite each of you to attend if you are our current client, all right? And if you're not our current client, but if you'd like to have a consultation, if you'd like to, if you're looking for a lawyer or looking for legal help in any way, feel free to contact my office. We are here to help. We would love to help, okay? My name is Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Lander Home Immigration, A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. Thanks so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time on our next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Thanks a lot, everybody. Make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.